Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. So recently I uploaded a video where I reacted to Babe Ruth's greatest baseball highlights, and that video created a bit of a discussion in the comments as to who the greatest baseball player of all time is, and the two names that came up most were Babe Ruth and Ohtani. So I thought today, why not react to a video where both players are directly compared to each other, and hopefully we can come to some sort of conclusion. So I'm looking forward to this one. Let's go.
Are you ready to witness the clash of the two most extraordinary players in baseball history? On one side, we have Babe Ruth, the Sultan of SWAT, who set the bar so high with his power hitting that it took almost 4 decades for anyone to even come close to his 714 home runs record.
Crazy.
But hold on, because on the other side, we have Shohei Ohtani, a modern-day wonder of baseball who's taken the league by storm with his ability to pitch and hit at an elite level. He's a two-way player with a fastball that can reach triple digits and a smooth swing that produces jaw-dropping home runs. So, imagine a face.
So the one thing that I think is worth pointing out to some people not so familiar with the game is that both players are great all-round players. You know, Babe Ruth, I believe, actually started out as a pitcher, and then his batting ability was discovered slightly later, and he's one of the best all-round players ever. And Shohei Ohtani definitely, you know, emulating that by also being an unbelievable pitcher and hitter. So both all-round talents could do everything, and I think that's what makes this debate so compelling, not just because they're generations apart, but because they were both good at everything.
Off between Babe Ruth and Shohei Ohtani. Who would come out on top as the king of the plate? The Sultan of SWAT or the Shohei Show? Let's find out. The Battle of Ages. Growing up in the bustling city of Baltimore in the early 20th century, George Herman Ruth, famously known as Babe Ruth, started out as a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox.
Here we go.
However, his ability to hit home runs brought him to the limelight in the baseball world. In 1914, he was signed to play minor league baseball for the Baltimore Orioles, but destiny had bigger plans for the Babe, and soon enough, he was sold to the Red Sox. By 1916, Ruth had already built a reputation as an outstanding pitcher who occasionally showed off his impressive hitting skills with long home runs.
Huge
and that
power.
was quite an achievement back then in the pre-1920 dead ball era. Despite his remarkable pitching record, Ruth had his sights set on something even more impressive: playing every day. So with some persuasion and determination, Babe Ruth converted to an outfielder, and he'd go on to break the MLB single-season home run record in 1919 with an astonishing 29 home runs.
Wow.
But that was just the beginning of Ruth's incredible journey as a baseball legend. Over his 22-year career, he amassed an astonishing career stat of a .342 batting average and a .474 on-base percentage, setting numerous records, including winning 7 World Series championships, being the All-Star twice, and being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936. But it doesn't end there. In fact, for nearly 40 years, his 714 home runs remained an unbeatable record. No wonder he was a force to be reckoned with during his time. But one particular game displayed the prodigious talent and strength of the Sultan of SWAT as a meticulous hitter. This was the 1927 World Series, a game that solidified Ruth's status as the greatest of all time after hitting 3 home runs in a single game, a feat that no one had ever achieved till Ruth, making him the first ever player to achieve such victory.
So one thing to point out here is not only did Babe Ruth in this particular game break the record for most home runs in a game, but he did it in the World Series. And I think when judging sportsmen, we always have to judge them on how they perform, not just in the regular season, but in the big games, and it doesn't get much bigger than the World Series. So for me, you know, with Babe Ruth having 7 World Series victories, it's hard to make the argument for Ohtani being greater than him overall. You can maybe make the argument for Ohtani being the greatest talent. You know, I'm sure many people might agree with that, but overall, it's quite difficult considering Babe Ruth's performances in the biggest games of them all. But yeah, let's continue.
Fast forward to modern times, and we have the one and only Shohei Ohtani, a true wonder of the baseball world. This young superstar from Oshu Iwate, Japan, was born to play the game. He started playing in local leagues at just 6 years old, and by the time he graduated from high school in 2012, he was already turning heads. Ohtani was signed by the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters of Japan's Nippon Professional Baseball League, where he spent 5 seasons dazzling fans and scouts alike with his incredible talent. Now imagine this: the raw power of Babe Ruth combined with the pitching dominance of Nolan Ryan. Sounds too good to be true, right? But that's precisely what Ohtani brings to the table. His stats from the 2021 season are simply jaw-dropping. In just 140 games, he blasted 46 home runs, becoming the first player in MLB history to hit that many home runs while also serving as a regular starting pitcher. His fastballs can reach over 100 miles an hour as a pitcher, and his breaking balls are downright nasty.
Oh, wow. Look at that dip.
Ohtani made history by consistently pitching and hitting in the same games for the first time in almost a century. And as if that's not enough, Ohtani also exhibited the same level of dominance on the mound, striking out 156 batters in just 130 innings of pitching with a stellar 3.18 ERA. Even more impressive is how rare a player can excel in both roles. To be a star hitter or a star pitcher is already a feat in itself, but to be a star in both? That's practically unheard of, but Ohtani has managed to do just that, making him one of the most exciting baseball players in recent times. Now let's give you an insight into the Shohei Show. During a game on August 10, 2021 at the Angels Stadium in Anaheim, California, Ohtani gave us a field display of the Shohei Show. Let's say he was absolutely blazing the diamond with his rare talent. Starting for the Los Angeles Angels against the Texas Rangers on the mound, he quickly struck out his first 2 opponents with his blazing fastball and diving splitter.
Wow, look
the
at those
Rangers
dips.
hitters had no answers for him. But that's not all. In the bottom of the first inning, Ohtani stepped up to the plate with a runner on base and crushed a 2-run homer into the right field stands. The crowd went wild, and his teammates mobbed him at home plate. That was just the beginning of his masterclass in pitching and hitting. Despite taking a line drive off his throwing hand in the 4th inning, he shook it off and continued dominating on the mound. The game ended with the Angels on top, and Ohtani had put on a show for the ages. He finished the game with 8 strikeouts and just 1 earned run allowed over 6 innings, and he also had 3 hits, including the monster homer. Now enough of the Ohtani show. Let's talk about the battle of the ages. This battle is like no other. It's one hard to imagine, but the prospect of seeing these 2 baseball icons facing off against each other is thrilling. And putting them side by side, Babe Ruth's impressive career accomplishments speak for themselves, but Ohtani's unique and unparalleled ability to pitch and hit at an elite level is a game changer. While Ruth is undoubtedly one of the greatest hitters of all time, Ohtani's versatility on the mound and at the plate adds a whole new dimension to the game. Ruth's power was unmatched in his era, but Ohtani's blazing fastball and his ability to smash homers like nobody's business is something that the baseball world has never seen before. Moreover, Ohtani's ability to contribute to his team in multiple ways is a rare and valuable asset that makes him stand out among other players. With his ability to pitch like a pro and hit the ball out of the park, there's no denying it that Ohtani is a valuable asset to his team. But the question remains, who'd come out on top if these 2 icons were to face off against each other? Let's look closely at their stats and achievements to see who might be the winner. Babe
Let's
Ruth.
dive into the
From
stats,
these
baby.
stats, Babe Ruth has accumulated outstanding career stats of 714 home runs, a 342 batting average, a 474 on-base percentage, 228 ERA, and 183.1 WAR, the highest in the history of baseball throughout his 22-year career. Shohei Ohtani. While from 2018 to 2023, Shohei Ohtani has accumulated impressive career stats of 132 home runs, a 267 batting average, a 361 on-base average, 279 ERA, and a 4.3 WAR. We can see from these stats that Babe Ruth had a distinguished career with more home runs, a higher batting average, a higher WAR score, and an on-base percentage than Ohtani. However, Ohtani has more ERA despite...
Before we dive into the ERA, I'm not too familiar with what ERA and what WAR means. Remember, bear with me. I'm a cricket player, so I don't know the detailed stats of baseball outside of batting average and on base percentage, etc., etc. So just interesting that Babe Ruth's WAR is 183 and Ohtani's is only 4.3. I'll be interested to know what the calculation entails with that type of statistic.
Despite having a shorter career duration. But if we consider the duration of their careers, Ruth has had a longer career than Ohtani thus far. Therefore, it's worth considering the impressive accomplishments that Ohtani has achieved in a much shorter period. Nevertheless, Babe Ruth and Shohei Ohtani are two different players from different eras who bring sheer talent and excitement to the game. And although Ruth's extraordinary hitting skills and achievements are unmatched, Ohtani's unique skills and ability to play multiple positions make him a player to watch for years. With more years on the diamond and more effort, Ohtani might just become a more prestigious Babe Ruth, as he's already been nicknamed the Japanese Babe Ruth, but only time will tell. But to answer the question on who'd most likely win at a face-off, we'd say the Sultan of SWAT takes the cap for now. But hey, that's our opinion. What's yours? Who's your winner?
Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Guys, so that was a nice little video comparing the two players, and it's a very interesting debate indeed. Obviously, Ohtani, due to his talents, has signed that mega deal, $700 million to be paid for him over the course of 10 or so years, or I think 20 years or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but it's definitely deserved indeed. I think as far as pitching is concerned, Ohtani probably gets the edge. I think, Babe Ruth obviously started out as a pitcher, but then later on became more well known for his batting exploits. And as far as batting is concerned, I think Babe Ruth clearly has the edge. Batting average of .342 compared to Ohtani's .27, and Babe Ruth clearly, held the record for home runs for such a long time. So I think as far as batting is concerned, Babe Ruth might have it. Pitching, Ohtani might have it, but two absolute legends, and I think we have to give the edge to Babe Ruth because of its exploits in the biggest games of them all. You can't, count out 7 World Series victories, but who knows, maybe Ohtani overthrows him in the end. I'll be very interested to hear what your opinions on this matter is. I'm always looking forward to seeing the comments below. But folks, that's all I have for you today. If you did enjoy the video, please remember to like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel a lot. But until next time, I hope you have a good one. Cheers.